Hello. So here we are, another question and answer here at Upholstery on Broadway and Broadway Upholstery School. Supply now, you guys. It's BroadwayUpholsterySupply.com. If you guys want your supplies, I highly recommend the supplies that we offer over all others. Little things like twine, having the right twine. Somebody was asking today, do you have the Italian twine? Of course we do. It's called ruby twine, and it's the only twine for tying springs. And we're going to get to this in a little while, because in our vast studio audience is the student who's actually doing this, and it's Jimmy. Jimmy's in our studio audience, and let me see if I can find him. There he is, up in the balcony, third row. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Jimmy, if you were using nylon twine on this, that would be a no-no. So that's
I would be afraid. The nylon, that would definitely.
The problem with nylon twine is it slips over very little time. It does not take a long time for the knots to start slipping, and you could put a whole 8-way tie on these springs, and then once your knot starts to slip, and it's like you didn't do anything, and the spring starts to tilt and everything else. So
okay, good thing to know.
very unique twine, and it's made just for that.
Ruby twine.
We'll have Jimmy come up and talk a little bit about his progress on this piece. We had it featured last week. We're going to keep it up, I think, maybe throughout your doing it on these question and answers, just so people could see your progress.
Well, I think it's an important lesson to show people, especially with the springs and the different techniques you have to use to make sure they're going to be, as you say, 80 and 90 years of wear and tear.
Yeah, we make a seat. Us upholsterers are looking to make seats last 80, 90, and I've seen even 150-year-old springs tying with the ruby twine, with the burlap, and with the horsehair last that long. I mean, certainly there is a lifespan, but I've seen it actually still held together after all that time, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
So let's get right to, we'll have you up in a little while, Jimmy. We're going to get right to some of the questions or comments that we had, and I think we have a live question already from Daniel, or comment, Patrick?
Yep.
Who invented the gooseneck? I am not a history buff, so I have no idea. Would be fun to know.
The gooseneck stretcher, whoever it was, I think revolutionized the art of stretching webbing, because before that, with that one that's open-ended, it really is dangerous, and many people have gotten hurt with that thing. The closed neck gooseneck, I'm not sure who invented it, but probably the tool company, Osborne, I would say. If there was a Mr. Osborne, I'm not sure. I don't think it was Ozzy Osbourne. I'm sure it wasn't him that invented it, but it's a good question. Maybe we could do a little research. Maybe we can Google that and find out. But anyhow, so some tools have been tweaked a little bit, and that's one of them. But a lot of the tools in upholstery have remained the same for almost 200 or over 200 years, really. The tack hammer, for instance, that hasn't changed. Magnets have gotten better, though, I have to say, on the tack hammer. Well, let's go to the first comment here, and feel free, you guys, to ask questions as we go along here. It's been another busy week here, though, I should say. And so I had a pair of Martha Washington chairs come in the door that if I have time, I'll show you, maybe trying to close it outside while I'm on. But we had a call today about ply grip and about edge close. They call it edge grip or whatever. There's different companies that make that close outsides with that metal strip. But ply grip, this is a good example of having the right supplier, because you can really get lost in the supplies. There's only one that I would use to close up outsides, and that is a lightweight. It's the ply grip. That's it. It's just the first and the best because it's a softer aluminum. That's the key. So that one example, there are hundreds of examples like that of how you can go with the wrong material. Of course, the nylon spring tying is another one, but anyhow, which is not a good example. But let's start with the first one. We did two videos on fixing a pop button. One with again, the proper tools, which we have. We have these kits that we sell. One's a button repair kit on the BroadwayUpholsterySupply.com, where, trust me, it's a lot easier than. Then I have a home. I invented a method of using all of what you can find at home to fix a pop button. Granted, obviously, it's not as good as the proper tools, but if somebody doesn't want to buy the tools, it certainly will work on some fabrics, not all fabrics. So check those out, those 2 videos on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, before I go on, I just want to talk a little bit about, let's see if it's in here. Do we have it in here, Patrick? Some of the statistics on YouTube? No?
They're back here.
Oh.
But I gave it to Michaela.
Can you bring those up? I just want to talk a little bit about our YouTube channel now that I'm on this subject. Well, one thing I want to do is thank everybody that has subscribed. I really think it's great. It's such a compliment to know that people subscribing. I think what we have found is that 10%, I'd say, if you get 10% of people who actually watch your video subscribing, I think that's a big number. Although I don't know, Patrick. I don't know for sure about that number because there's no analytics for that. I'm just guessing that we've had about a 10% subscription rate based on our video. I mean, we've got over 1 million, I think 1.4 million, 1.5 million. Do you have that down here, Patrick? No. Views. You've got a month. You don't got a lifetime view here, but I think it's, last time I looked it was 1.3 million, and we have 58,000 it says here in the month of, is that 1 month?
28 days.
And this couldn't be right. It says watch time in hours, 4.0K. Oh, that's total in how many days?
28.
28 days we've had 4,000 hours of watch time, which is incredible when you think about it. And in that 1 month period, we've had 534 subscribers, which is 94 or 100 more than we usually get in a month's time. So
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, we want to really thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're watching me, especially if you're watching the question and answer, please do. Please subscribe. So when we get subscribers are important, I think, because it just shows where we're at, how well we're doing, how people like us. I think that you have to like a channel to subscribe to it, right, Pat? I mean, that's...
I need to like it even more to participate in these and...
participating in the question and answer and
which John and Ann and Sylvia, who both checked in, they do that.
How you doing, guys? And we know that they're subscribers, right, Patrick?
Yes, I hope so.
But we like it. YouTube, I mean, if we didn't have 1 subscriber, I'm wondering... if we had like 100 subscribers over 10 years, I have to say, I can speak for myself, Patrick. I think that would be a little discouraging, Patrick.
Yeah, how that happens to anybody.
I don't even think that I would want to continue if nobody liked you. I mean, you got to have people like you, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Right, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, that's what I've always been told. Yeah.
I mean, I don't sit in the mirror and say, do people like me? I don't do that. Do you do that, Jimmy?
No, I don't have time in the morning. Like comb the hair and off we go.
Well, anyhow, thank
Since
you.
you mentioned that, I want to make sure we don't miss the question from John. So one question for Kevin. What's the best way to sharpen scissors? And I think we have a video on that, don't we?
I think I have 2. I think we did one with a contraption, a huge contraption that I borrowed, a huge scissor sharpening machine, which was just too much machine for what I was doing, I think. But then I showed another one, and I don't have it with me. It's a smaller machine which does just as fine a job as the big one. And here's the trick to sharpening scissors. Do not sharpen a scissor with a file, with a hand. Do not do it by hand with a file. Do not do that. There is no way you can do it. I know that there are guys out there who say they can do it, and I've seen people try, but you're going to ruin your scissors if you do that. The whole idea, the whole key to sharpening scissors is to get the angle that the scissor blades, if you look carefully, are angled. And if I had to guess, I would say, I don't know, a 20-degree angle, maybe not that much. But the scissor machines that they have are angled to the scissor blade. That's the key. So if you're sharpening it by hand, I guarantee you, even if you're trying to get the angle, I guarantee you're not getting a proper angle on that, and you're going to file that down too much. With some of these scissor sharpenings, I get a dull pair of scissors, I run it one blade, 1, 2, 3, I flip it, I 1, 2, 3 on the other blade, and I'm done, because I have the proper angle. And always make sure that you do it. If you cannot do it with one of these machines, have it professionally done. But be careful doing that too, because a lot of your professional knife sharpeners, they're not scissor sharpeners. You gotta make sure that they have the right equipment. I'll give you, for instance, I've actually had knife people do my scissors, and they come back with pointed ends, and like as sharp as a knife. That's not good. Your ends should have a little bit of a round. So if you've seen me sharpen, go to the YouTube. Good question, John. Go to YouTube, and you'll see. I think one of the tips that I give when I'm sharpening is I do a little uptick on the scissors to get the bottom of the blade with a little bit of a round edge, because when you're gliding the scissors or making cuts, you don't want the point sticking in. Does that make sense? So there's a real art to sharpening scissors for sure. And we show that on at least 2, right, Patrick?
Yes.
At least 2 videos on YouTube. Again, a great resource for me is the YouTube. When I have a question like that, I just refer people to the YouTube channel, and that's perfect. So I'm looking at this graph here. And, we have these graphs that YouTube sends us, and we like to see the peaks and the valleys. But if something is going into a valley, it's a kind of a indication for us that we haven't posted a video, or the video content doesn't interest people as much. So we are always looking for your input in these question and answers, and also the comments. Comments are so important on the YouTube channel, which we're going to get to, and we're going to keep reading the comments. So all of that is good. And it says here, Patrick, as far as views go this month of October, or last month, it says here 54,000 more than usual. Did you hear what I just said?
Pretty cool.
That's views, and that's just wonderful. So thank you guys. Keep it coming, please. And then I wanted to go over the top videos that we have, which this is what we look at, right? And this was in the month. This was in the recent months. There's a couple of different months in here. We had 5,400 views on a beautiful custom Chippendale sofa, Patrick. That's a big surprise. Was that on YouTube?
Yep, that was the just the video showing it off a little bit,
That was only 35 seconds. The
Just
duration.
the video showing it off, yep.
But isn't that that's an incredible amount of people in a short amount of time?
Yeah.
Then we have something that I pay attention to a lot when we're on the videos is the retention. I call it retention. They call it. YouTube calls it duration. When we have a high duration on a video, I pay attention to that, and I think our average, the last time, if you average out all our videos, I'm pretty sure we're in the 4-minute range, Patrick, which is really good. So some of these videos here, fixing a pop button for free, that usually gets people to watch. That was 3,400 last month, 2:48, 2 minutes and 48 seconds.
Well, you're putting me to sleep.
I know. But for some reason, I just get a kick out. I always like graphs, you guys. Look at the graphs that they send you. And I always like, once in a while, to check all this stuff.
Erica says she got her supplies and they were packaged nicely, and she's very happy. Thank you, Erica.
Wow, thank you. And
She's looking forward to next week.
So for people who don't know, now she's in Australia, right, Patrick?
No.
Oh.
Come on. Seattle.
Seattle.
Close enough, Mr.
It took all my joke away. Janine is out in Australia.
And Erica will be seeing next Friday. I think we scheduled our Zoom with her. So.
Well, we are now worldwide shippers, right, Patrick? Although we've had a little bit of a problem. We've shipped to Australia, right?
Yes. Just probably a temporary problem with UK shipping. I'm not sure if it might have something to do with what's going on with the virus.
It could be, yeah. So we are facing difficulty with I think with the way the world is now with shipping. But we did send out a package to Australia. So I guess it went. What's the Australian airline name? Qantas? So it went Air Qantas to the ground, maybe Federal Express, to the Kangaroo that they put the supplies in the pouch, and the kangaroo hopped over there to Janine and was delivered.
How was the kangaroo dressed?
I don't know, Jimmy. How do kangaroos
Well, come on, you're
dress?
telling a story. You're gonna know.
Did it have a little cap on?
Little cap.
Kangaroo Express.
Little shirt.
A little shirt.
Yeah.
And we have a legitimate question now.
This is from Debbie.
Debbie.
I saw a video of you repairing a torn down wrapped cushion with some spray glue and down ticking.
Yeah.
What type of spray glue did you use? I have the same problem with a torn envelope. Please help.
Yeah, we have the spray glue is available online. Right? Oh no, hold on. No, we don't sell chemicals, right, Patrick?
No, I don't think there might be an issue with that.
So one of the things that
We do sell glue sticks and glue guns.
yeah, this isn't going to work for her. So I'm just going to give her the tip straight out. You can go to a hardware store. Most hardware stores carry the 3M products, and I don't know if I should show. Well, I'll just cover the 3M with my thumb. But what you're looking for is Super 77. Okay? It's a clear spray glue that would work fine, and if you've seen the video, I take a piece of muslin. If you had a piece of downproof ticking, that would be even better. And I know you wet it with you spray it both on the piece of cloth and also on the cushion, and you're good. Now, do I do this professionally? No, not much. I don't like doing this. I want when a cushion reaches a point when the casing starts to tear, it's probably time to get a new cushion, but you can repair it and get more life out of it. And I think that was a fix-it, right, Patrick, on YouTube?
Yep.
So that was a fix-it. So for all you professional upholsterers who see me doing some of these quick fixes and all that, it's not for you. It's for the average homeowner who's looking for an inexpensive way to keep the life of a piece of furniture going, which I think is just going to be great for the environment, right, Jimmy? If
Yes,
a million people are looking at us, and 10,000 of them are saving a sofa each because they fixed the button, or we have tips on how to fill cushions and everything, on how to extend the life of a cushion cheaply or for free. And you're extending the life of those sofas, 10,000 sofas, for another 10 years, keeping them out of the landfill. Isn't that a great public service?
You're doing the best you can with it.
I think so.
You're an environmentalist.
I'm very proud of that fact that most upholsterers, if you're upholstering, you are concerned about the environment. You're helping the environment. I don't know if you're helping the manufacturers of new furniture, though.
You might buy a little bit of it from them. But
So that's it with the top videos. Do we have any other questions before I go on? Good question, though. The next one is from Janine. Speaking of Janine, thank you. I was just making that up, Janine. I hope you don't mind about the kangaroo thing. So I'm pretty sure they don't do that, Jimmy. Why did you say that?
I don't know.
So this is about how to run an upholstery shop. We just did this video.
Yes.
And it really got it generated a lot of interest. So before we get on, we have a question live.
This is from Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
Do you have a video on arm slip covers?
Slip covers. We have, the only slip cover that we have is on the online classes. Bernice, right, Patrick?
Yeah, our sewing expert.
She's completed one project
Yep.
that's posted, and then one is underway.
It works, yeah.
And then we have other ones in the future that Bernice is going to do. And let me tell you, she is one of the best experts out there in how to do slip covers. She is a wealth of knowledge. So I don't think I've shown slip covers. No, not myself. It's all upholstery. So this is, Janine says, thanks, Kevin. This is fantastically useful information. Thank you, Janine. She's always been complimentary. Janine's been one of our oldest supporters, right, Pat? Mm-hmm. And we owe a lot to our supporters. And I think one time I said, we were thinking about going through the YouTube channel and getting rid of some of the old videos that were done on a cell phone, Pat.
Yeah.
And, we've learned so much in the way of equipment and camera angles and sometimes, it's a little embarrassing maybe to see those older ones, but people have told us that, we're big history people too. We love history, so historically you should keep them. Just for people to see the progression of the, bless you, of the progression of the channel, right, Patrick?
Absolutely.
So the next one's from Chris. Chris says, thanks, Kevin. I've just started my own home workshop. Yay! I think we've got somebody in the studio audience who can vouch for this, for opening up there. Isn't it, Jimmy? Are you going to be doing that soon?
What's that?
Having your own shop someday, right?
Yeah. When I clear you out, take over the lease, you can decide. Where would you go? Sean Connery's vacation home in the
Oh, Jimmy just mentioned we want a special.
Finish this first. You're in the middle of this question.
Oh yeah, let me just finish. Don't let me forget that.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to use elements of your board. If you haven't seen it, you guys should check it out. How to Run an Upholstery Shop. I think it will help me keep things organized. When, in parentheses, when you work for someone else, all you've got to worry about is the work order and timesheet. So much different being self-employed. Thanks again. That's right. So our second, just ignore it. Second one is from how to uphold. Somebody's knocking on our door, so we don't know who it is. You could just say, Jimmy, you can take care of it. And Leslie, she says, how to run an upholstery shop. She says, thanks, Kev, very helpful for me.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'll stop by. I'll see Kevin. Come walk, stop by.
This type, how to run an upholstery shop, from Teresa. She says, this type of organization is my go-to type. Kind of like the shoebox accounting method. I like that too. That's good. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 comments. And then we have, this is the Upholstery Show Live, the world's biggest sofa. And that was done, Patrick, wasn't that like a month ago?
Yeah.
So I think it's great that we get comments on the live shows even after a month. I think it's great because they stay up there, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
But the live thing never goes away. the title, right?
All right.
So that's interesting. So this How To with MZ says, I love all of your stuff and I'm an artist that is looking to get into upholstery. Want to find some stools first and then get into a house before I think about signing up for your classes. Great. Well, I wonder how many other people are waiting for a situation where they can be hammering and not bother anybody, right, Patrick?
Right, I know Joseph was one of those.
You know, it's funny. That's one of the reasons why I started doing a slipcover class, starting to offer that, because sewing machines aren't usually loud, and pinning fabric and cutting fabric, you probably could do that in an apartment building. So I would recommend that if people like How To here with MZ, if they're in a situation like that, you might want to start with the online class that we offer with the slipcover, just to keep yourself motivated, I guess. Keep yourself moving and cutting fabric and learning the different cuts which Bernice shows you. That's a good idea, I think, to start like that. Start with the slip covering. So then we have Debbie. I'm not sure.
She's on here now, so.
Debbie B.
Yeah.
She's repairing a down wrap cushion. She just asked that, but let me see if the question. I have the same problem with my down envelope with the tear. Could you please tell me what spray glue? And we just answered that, so that's good. So we'll try to answer the questions live, when we can. And then Anna Davis, she says on how to make double piping. And don't always get on the sewing machine. You've seen the videos, not many on the sewing machine. But this one we showed how to do a double piping, and she says, great job, and thank you, Anna. And Janine's here again with the Upholstery Show Live last week, so she's got a nice comment here. She says, great, this was last week. Great question and answer today. Thank you for answering my question regarding the direction of the vertical tufted pleats. I just can't wait to see the love seat you had on today's show, as I have very similar 4-seater sofa plus 2 chairs. Wow. With more curved around the arms that I need to completely reupholster. And then pay attention to this part, because I think this is important for anybody who's just watching me and wondering about the online classes. Janine says, having a yearly subscription is the best, with such incredible value. Thank you to the whole team for all your work and time on both the YouTube and the online class videos.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Janine. I should mention, that we priced all of the online classes more or less from a volume standpoint. We're not unhappy with how many people we have, right, Patrick?
Oh, very happy.
We're very happy, but we want to see more people subscribe to the online classes. We really do. If you've enjoyed the YouTube channel and you've subscribed, I think you should look into the online classes, because what we've been hearing is that it offers all the tips. And in a minute, I'm going to have Jimmy come up, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, because we've heard back from people who have watched Jimmy and listened to some of the questions that he's asked me. And I want to get him up here to catch you up on his project too. But there's one more from Janine that I really love Patrick's, what do they call that? A thumbnail on this diamond chair class that we've had. And each lesson I've been noticing, Patrick, that you've been on the ball lately, that each lesson you're posting up on Facebook.
Yeah.
And do you put that up on YouTube too?
Yeah, so people know what's in the next class. Nice to have.
Yeah. And how many classes do you remember? I know that I'm putting you on the spot here. How many classes did she have on that one? This is
9
Michelle.
weeks, but there's 10 classes.
There's 10 classes. This is Michelle. And I think it's really worth, even if just somebody wanted to buy that one class. If you guys want to know how to do tufting, watch this class. This is the class for you. So Janine says, would the upright pleats, we just had that one, right, Patrick? Yeah.
So these are just catching up on her.
Well, let me just read the question, because she goes into detail with the question. She says, would the upright pleats at the top, I'm going to read this fast and then read it slow, because Janine, you are is she watching?
Probably not. She's
Well,
on different times.
she'll watch. She has some really good detailed questions. She's always been good at this, and that only helps you guys. Would the upright pleats at the top face left and right from the center, rather than facing either right or left for an even number of pleats? For symmetry, I mean. That's her question. And how did we answer this, Patrick?
That might have been from last week, but I wasn't sure, so I wanted to put it in.
We answered this.
Yeah. But I wanted to make sure, because sometimes they get lost. So.
Yeah, we answered it. If you guys want to see the answer to that, go to last week's class, the Upholstery Show Live. So that does it for the questions. I'm going to have Jimmy come up, because he's been very...
Well, you want to do that Sean Connery thing first?
Oh yeah, before Jimmy comes up, I just wanted to get a little serious and offer, just have a little, what do we call this?
Memorial?
A memorial or
Say a few nice words about the man.
yeah, I mean, Sean Connery lived a nice old age to 90, right?
Yes.
Had a long career in the movie industry, but what maybe some people don't know, if they see our introduction, they see Sean Connery pop up. And Sean Connery was said, I mean, if you guys Google it, you might not see that he was an upholsterer, but he worked when he was a young man in a casket company. And some of the jobs in a casket company are doing the liner for the coffins. So technically, I would say he was an upholsterer. You know, he worked with fiber and he upholstered. You know, I don't think he got many complaints.
Not from what people going in.
But he was a good guy. I always loved him. I thought he was great.
Well, the original James Bond, you can't beat it. I mean, he did quite a few.
But he did the Untouchable. He did these movies too.
Oh, I thought he was great in the Untouchable.
Yeah.
I was sad that he I guess it might have been one of the only roles he may have died in. I'm not sure about the other.
I think in the Untouchables he did. His character did die.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh my God, well, you can't do this to anybody else but him.
But I think my personal opinion, the best James Bond. I think and more importantly in his private life, I think he was a good man. I really do. I really got that feeling. I know that some comedy shows used to make a little fun of him.
Well, Saturday Night Live did the Jeopardy on.
Yeah, the Celebrity Jeopardy. I know that they poke fun, but I guess that's the highest form of flattery, right? Right.
Well, I mean the accent, it was all.
Yeah.
People enjoy it. I think it was a very, very charismatic type of guy, and he carried a lot of the roles really well.
But rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace. One of the things that we say in upholstery is that upholsterers never die; they always recover. But In this case, it didn't happen, but one day they'll be laughing at me too, right?
Yeah, that's right, you know, we might have to say a few nice words about you too, so.
Well, thank you guys, all serious though. Rest in peace, Sean Connery, and let's get on to Jimmy. Jimmy is here to kind of highlight what he's been doing on his online class. And thanks, Jimmy, for sticking around.
No problem. By the way, check's in the mail again, right?
Oh, right, and your raise is in the back room with the upright, your raise and your platform shoes are here. That's your raise.
Yeah, they still don't fit. Thank you for showing, kind of opening that up.
Anyhow, we like Jimmy. We like, right, Patrick? We
come
like
up with this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you locked the door on me, kicked me out before the lights go off, but that's all right. Don't worry about it.
So let's turn this up for the camera and see what
Yep.
you've been doing. So last week, Jimmy, I don't even know if you had the springs in last week, did you? Maybe.
Well, we had the one clip per spring to get it all started.
Right, and we tipped it like this and all the springs fell forward.
Yeah.
And it wasn't daylight savings time, spring behind it.
Are you trying to be funny?
I'm trying to make a joke, but it's not coming out right
No,
at
that's
all.
right. I think I'll have to try. Let's try that again from the top, people.
I didn't think it out well at all.
Okay,
but
yeah, okay.
Jimmy has done, so he's anchored his springs in, and we showed you last week live on how they're done with the needles and
Yes.
the nylon tufting twine, not the hand tie, the ruby twine. So Jimmy has got them secured, and he's got his first springtime front to back on. So I guess you would say you have this one-way tie.
Yes.
Right? So next week he's going to continue the two-way tie,
Mm-hmm.
and then the following week you're going to be doing the eight-way tie.
Yeah. So I think this will be again with the classes that we're going to be doing on this. I think it's quite enlightening because instead of having 4 to 6 springs sitting on a simple chair, now we're going to see how it should be with 7. How many?
Yeah. So what's different about this are the curves. So most modern furniture is pretty much box. It's a box. It's a wooden box frame that there's no curves. That they build. What they do is they build padding around it. With these pieces, you have the curves in the piece itself. So there's a little bit of a challenge there when you put your spring placement. I want to show people Jimmy's spring placement. And we actually, on this one here, they had too many springs, I felt. Remember we removed some, okay?
I think
But I like the placement and the spread. We call this a spread of springs, right? He's got the 3 here, and then he's got the 3 here. But notice how these are spread out a little bit in order to come a little bit more to the curve here. That's how we put them in, and then two at the end. So when Jimmy's done, and maybe hopefully we'll have this up here next time too.
Yep.
But you'll have this done, and this done, and this done, and that springs. To a lot of people, they stop right there, and the 4-way tie is enough. But we want to make sure we 8-way tie it, because what people don't realize with the 8-way tie, it fills in these holes that are left, and then your burlap goes on. And the burlap fills in the rest of the holes.
And that's the
So-
start of the another
that-
phase.
The foundation is superb. This is the best foundation, the best way to approach, the best seating that you can possibly get. Okay? So let's put this back. And I think I wanted to mention with Jimmy some of the questions that come up. The online classes, why they're different than the YouTube classes. YouTube is just me talking to the camera and showing you and trying to relate as much of the information that I can to you. And that's most YouTube videos that are done face-to-face, one person and not 2 people interacting. So with the online classes, when you watch the online classes, and we've had people feedback, right Patrick, with this, they say that the questions that he's asking, or any beginner is asking, is almost like you're watching it and you have that question in your mind and then it comes out. And that's the difference between the YouTube and the online classes.
Right, you have an ongoing lesson.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a stop and go type
The
of
thing is, Jimmy, I don't remember everything that I've learned. So it's not that I'm holding back the information on the YouTube videos. I try to do as good a job as I can.
Right.
But it's so mechanical sometimes.
Second nature, you're just doing it, you're not even, yes, in this type of situation you would have to, basically start from, explain yourself through the process, with what you're doing from start to finish. With the lesson, it's you are going through it, but not as detailed, I don't think.
So one of the questions, I think of at least two questions that you have asked already in this, that I sometimes I'll stop, I'll look at the camera and say, see, this is why the online classes are good, because I wouldn't have said that in a video that I was teaching. One of them was about the back. You were wondering, why did I have to split up the back, the inside arms, the inside back? Why did I have to do that? Why didn't you just run one piece right along, especially on the burlap? Who cares about the burlap,
Right,
right?
it's simple.
But really, you couldn't get the angles. The angles are too dramatic to do that. I mean, if it was a straight back, yeah, but by the time you swung your burlap around, you would have had huge plates around right in here.
Right.
So that's why we had to split it up. Did you have a question, Jimmy?
No, I remember, you made the remark rather regarding the style of the chair, because it had been obviously done over,
Right.
and it was done over as one piece, versus
Yeah.
I guess it was 3 sections.
So we should tell people that Jimmy had a very difficult, there was a piece of wood, finished wood, finished piece, right down here, similar to this edge, right down here. And somebody, the last time, they covered over it and made it into one piece, which is a difficult, I mean, both ways are difficult, because you're dealing with a small area where you had to tack. And I bet the decision that they made was, instead of doing that again, that would be a problem. They just covered over it.
Right.
Because it was a problem.
Probably a very tight area, probably
Yeah.
half an inch of that.
So the other thing that you asked was, why did you start, let's turn this all the way up this way. So Jimmy asked, why do you start the webbing in the back? The very first webbings that we put are back to front. I mean, this is before the springs go in, obviously.
Right.
So let's turn it back up again. So the reason for that is, technically, the back rails are stronger than the front, pretty much because they're smaller. They're narrower, right? So when you have so you want to make sure that when you're stretching, whether with a gooseneck stretcher or the open stretcher, there's a lot of force that's put on that.
Yeah.
Probably the most force, it's leverage. You can really, there's a lot of force. So it could if you didn't have a very good frame, and you were starting in the middle of, let's say, here and working back this way,
Yeah, you'd be,
that would be wrong.
Right.
You could actually tilt. I've seen actually some frames where you put all that weight, if you start from the front and work to the back, you actually turn the rail up like that. There's so much force.
okay.
So that's a question, maybe or maybe not, that I would have thought about or demonstrated to people or verbalized while I was doing. I might have just in a YouTube video just did it and not say it. But with Jimmy, it's asking these questions on the online classes all the time. They come up.
Well, the other thing is, this is a new lesson too with the staples. I mean,
That's
this,
another thing. So
Okay.
why don't you describe what we did today, Jimmy? What normally, I will
No,
say,
what?
normally with the 14-ounce tacks, right?
14-ounce tacks are used generally on chairs, wingback chairs, so on, and used as a perimeter, as a kind of a wrap around to front and back and side to side, the way it goes. Because the frame being kind of a unusual shape and not as strong as, say, a box, what you're going to have is maybe a little more, I don't know what the word would be, maybe like you said about collapsing the frame a little bit.
Well, it's well said, Jimmy. I think you said it well, because you see how this swoops out and there's no support. You could be hammering here and it really compromised the frame. So what we did was, we've talked about this before, you guys, I hate to plug the website again, but I'm going to, in a really good pneumatic staple gun, you have the proper amount, so when you're hammering with the pounds of pressure, my guess is that every hammer whack is about 80 pounds pressure. How do I know that? Because that's how much pressure is needed to throw these staples out of the hammer. So what a lot of people don't realize is there's actually something called a hammer inside your gun. That's that little piece of metal that comes out. They call that the hammer.
Oh, okay.
That the hammer that takes the staple out, right? So for you to duplicate that with your, so this is the decisions you make with experience, right? So if Jimmy would have to, with the 14-ounce tacks, he has to hammer them halfway in first in order to wrap your tack in. If you've seen the videos, you guys, online, this is what I do. And then you follow through with the hammering of the rest. I'm pretty sure that each one, I would say it's 80 pounds.
Right.
You know, within that hammer head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the beauty about the pneumatic staple gun is that all of your 80 pounds is coming, it's internal, right? It's just taking the staple out. And it's not, all you do is rest it on here and pull the trigger.
Right.
So you're saving your frame. Right?
Yes, an awful lot of, probably saving a lot of tension on the frame.
Tremendous amount. All your hammering is done within the machine, right? So what we did was, we started in the back, we folded the twines, remember? So I guess people would have to see the online class to know exactly what we were doing there.
Yes.
But with the long twine, we tie that first. Okay, now I'm going to give a little preview to you for next class.
Oh, boy.
Because you might be wondering what the small twines that are left are going to do. Okay, so I'm going to show people. I'm going to show people now.
Okay.
So what I'd like you to do, Jimmy, if you can hold this up this way
Okay.
while I try to tie. Yeah, close up of that. So I'm going to get down here a little bit. So with the backup twines or the small twines, we're going to come over the top and under, and then I'm going to get a knot back here, and watch what I do, you guys. I'm going to make continuous loops, and I have a lot of twine. We have a lot of twine here, and that's a good thing, because I'm going to really get a tight looping all the way down to the bottom. So I want to show you guys something right about here. So you're sitting on this piece, right? And when you sit down and the springs recoil, if you didn't have your little knots here, you're going to be putting pressure along this edge and along these edges. That's why we do this. So instead of lasting 25 or 30 years, the fronts of the springs are going to last a lot longer than that, because look at how much more twine we have, right? And so I actually top it off with another couple of knots down here.
Wow.
Look at that. And then guess what I do? For the knots don't slip up, if you don't have a lot of twine, you can actually have smaller amounts of loops.
Okay.
But it's important to pull this down and get this also stapled. And then fold it this way and get that stapled.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So let's bring this back up again and also express another, we're going to express something else here. That the springs were tied, we started right up at the top rung, and all of them are top rung springs, and the reason they are is they're small springs and you have a loose cushion. So
Okay.
just for, let's just show for a visual.
Where's the cushion?
The cushion is here somewhere, right? I had it, oh, it's over here, let me grab it. Let's put this up here for a minute. Now, these springs are not tied all the way, but they're going to be down like this. So what Jimmy's going to do, he's going to take the biggest edge roll we have. See if I can get it down. After he's done tying and the burlap goes on, then you're going to put your edge roll on, like so. Look at how nice that's going to be.
Oh,
Look at
that's
that.
gonna be great.
Jimmy's getting a preview of
Woo!
what this is
I'm
gonna
excited
be.
already.
And then you're going to have look at Jimmy has a. The only thing we're keeping really on this is the wood frame,
And
the coil springs, and the down cushion.
yeah,
And he's got a beautiful French. This is a French settee, Jim. I don't know if you know this.
yes.
But the down that's in here is, I think it's 100% down, which is not something that you can get today. You can only get an 80-20 at the most.
Okay.
So this is a wonderful cushion. It has a lot of loft to it. Look at how lofty it is.
I know.
Right?
It's too
So-
bad it seems like it should be a little bit bigger, a little more.
Oh no, it's perfect the way
Is it?
is. Yeah,
Okay.
it is. It's perfect. So, if there's any other questions, if there's not any other questions, are there any live questions? No? I think this is a good place to stop, Jimmy. I really want to thank you for, staying
I'm glad
around.
you enlightened me a little bit more, and I know for the next couple of weeks it's going to be interesting to get all the coil
Yeah.
springs together. I mean, this is what I was kind of looking forward to, this part right here. I know the rest of it, we get to see it week after week, but.
I think we want to make a real effort maybe on the question and answer, right, Patrick? To maybe feature this on every question and answer, Patrick?
Yes.
I think it might be a good thing for people to see the progress,
Oh, okay.
right?
That's good, yeah.
So until next time, you guys, please comment on all the YouTube channel that we have and the videos and also the live shows so that next week we'll have as many questions to,
And the forum.
And the
Yeah.
forum, right? Jimmy actually is an administrator on the forum, so the people that I forget to say yes to.
I approve.
Jimmy approves.
We haven't decided on an upholstery anthem yet, but we'll work on that.
And thanks a lot, and again, in all seriousness, our condolences to the Connery family. As you know, he was probably a fine upholsterer in his day.
I'm sure he enjoyed himself but I'm sure he was looking down the road, being the spy that he was going to be, and.
I don't know, acting, upholstering. I guess he picked the right career.
Yeah, he landed in the Bahamas, so he did well, I guess,
Thanks a lot, you guys.
Thanks, guys.